So, Mr. Hughes, thanks very much for spending time. We had a wonderful vision from our Prime Minister about the sanitary and this particular issue that the country is facing. So, how do you look at what kind of, because you are part of this national, global poverty mission, how do you look at a proper execution, a successful execution of this kind of, nationwide campaign or nationwide vision?
Well, firstly, I would congratulate Prime Minister Modi for taking on the issue of sanitation head on and putting it on the political agenda. I think it's courageous of him to do so, and also to set the goal of every household and every school having access to a toilet by 2019 to mark the 150th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi's birthday, announced at Red Fort. I think is a really ambitious strategy and something that he should be commended for. So as you think about the roadmap to actually achieving that goal, I think there are a couple of things to keep in mind. Firstly, any intervention has to be community driven and community led. So in the same way that there was the eradication of polio, that was down to a local driven community strategy, district by district, region by region, right down to the community level. That's the same in the case of providing access to appropriate sanitation. Secondly, if you're going to create cultural change, it has to target young people, because young people are more open to new ideas, they're more open to new movements, and they're more open to actually changing their attitudes towards ingrained cultural practices. And if you consider something like open defecation, it's much harder to change the hearts and minds of people who are set in their ways than it is to engage people who actually are open to creating change. And I myself am a young person, and I think that when we have a drive a movement, we drive to movement with our peers, other young people around the world. So those are the first two things. And then I think finally, it's not about, it's important to note that it's not just about bricks and mortar. So it's not actually about money at the end of the day. It's actually about changing that culture and about building that movement. So when we met with Prime Minister Modi earlier this week, he really emphasised during our meeting just how important the movement, the worldwide movement to promote access to sanitation is as important, if not more important, than the financing behind it. And so that's something that we're committed to at the Global Poverty Project to adopt. We're going to target, we're going to target young people. We're going to work in partnership with young people. We're going to focus on cultural change, not just bricks and mortar. And we're going to do that regionally and community driven. They're the strategies and tactics behind what we're focusing on.
So in terms of, do you also look at scope of participation from local bodies, participation from NGOs and private companies as well?
Just in the same way that polio eradication took cooperation between the Rotary districts all across India, together with the World Health Organization, together with UNICEF and NGOs, right down to, in Bihar, it was the district governor who ultimately championed that eradication, right down to Patna, where the final case of polio took place. It always is driven in partnership between NGOs, civil society, and civil society, NGOs, business and government, all working together. You need those players, and it will be the same, is important true in the area of sanitation.
Is there any figure or goal you have in your mind, that should be the achievement target?
Well, I think that Prime Minister Modi has set out the target himself of 2019. I think that's the ambitious target. And as I said earlier, it's not about money. It's about cultural change. And so, the money always flows cultural change because you're trying to create demand here. You're actually trying to, at the moment, there isn't even necessarily demand because we as we've noted when we were visiting Ghaziabad today, it wasn't about a lack of people who had access to toilets. It's the fact that they would rather defecate out in the open because they saw that as more cleanly or more hygienic. So if and far be it from me, to actually dictate what people should and shouldn't do. This has to be a community-driven strategy. It has to be led by the people. And that's what Prime Minister Modi, in such a visionary way, laid out. And it's our job, more humbly, to simply support his vision.
Sure. I definitely wish you luck and wonderful talking to you.
Thank you very much. Bahut dhanyavad.